Ford and Toyota just made a shocking announcement that has left the entire auto industry in shock. They are about to flip the industry upside down, and it has everything to do with dealerships. But the implications are far beyond that. This is going to change the whole economy, and the change is already happening. Let me explain. What's happening? Well, for a long time, we've followed the same old routine in the auto world. Manufacturers churn out vehicles, ship them off to local dealerships, and we, the eager consumers, head to those showrooms to make our purchases. Sure, it had its charm, it felt personal and heartfelt, like you were part of a little tradition. But let's keep it real. In recent years, that charm has really faded. The typical car buying experience has gotten messy and frustrating. It is almost like a struggle to buy a car these days. And you know who else suffers because of this just like us? Automakers? So what's the solution here? Well, Ford and Toyota are stepping into the spotlight and taking a bold leap into the direct-to-consumer sales model. What does that mean? Well, they will be effectively cutting out the traditional dealerships that have ruled the car buying process for over a century. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this a gamble? Well, I had my doubts at first too, but after diving into some serious research, I can assure you, these automotive giants aren't just throwing darts at a board. This is a carefully orchestrated strategy. This isn't some hasty response to fleeting trends. It's a meticulous plan designed to ensure they lead the charge into the future of the automotive market. They have carefully thought of their risks and rewards. What are the rewards? Well, for starters, by leaning into this direct-to-consumer model, Ford and Toyota are not just making things more efficient, they're revolutionizing the entire purchasing experience to be way more transparent and, most importantly, customer-focused. Those days of getting lost in a maze of dealerships and dealing with uncomfortable haggling over prices, they're becoming a thing of the past. These trailblazing companies are tapping into the evolving desires and expectations of modern-day consumers who want easy, quick, and digital-first methods to buy their next vehicle. With just a handful of taps on your smartphone or laptop, you could design and order your dream car, decked out with every feature you've been dreaming about without ever having to step foot into a fizzy showroom. And here's the kicker. You'll have the manufacturer's full backing and expertise, making sure that your entire transaction is smooth sailing, free of the usual headaches. But let's not kid ourselves. This is not easy. So what's the risk? Getting rid of or even redefining the role of dealerships in this exciting new direct-to-consumer landscape isn't just a walk in the park, it's going to take a carefully crafted and phased strategy. This isn't merely about changing how cars are sold, it's about striking that perfect balance between creating a new sales channel and keeping the goodwill of long-standing business partners in check. Messing this up could open up a whole can of worms. I'm talking about distribution headaches, legal squabbles, and not to mention a potential fallout with loyal customers. But hang on, there's more to unpack here. Transitioning away from the traditional dealership model isn't just going to affect the car companies. It's going to send ripples through local economies that have leaned on these businesses as significant employers and vital contributors to the tax base. Can you imagine the impact if dealerships were to close or downsize? It could be pretty staggering, so Ford and Toyota will need to tread thoughtfully on this fine line of responsibility. And let's talk dollars and cents. A substantial hurdle on this journey includes the heavy investments necessary to create a solid digital infrastructure and top-notch customer service capabilities for this direct-to-consumer model. Imagine developing user-friendly online platforms, incorporating cutting-edge data analytics, and setting up efficient logistics networks, all crucial for making this transformation a reality. It's all about ensuring that every step of the buying and ownership experience is smooth and engaging. Companies need to pour resources into training their customer service teams to meet the diverse needs of buyers, right from that first Google search to support after they drive off with their shiny new ride. And we can't overlook inventory management. This is another big piece of the puzzle. In the traditional dealership model, cars are right there on the lot, ready for a test drive or purchase at a moment's notice. But in a direct-to-consumer setup, that instant availability might hit a snag, and we all know how crucial that is for customer satisfaction. At the end of the day, it all boils down to this. The customer calls the shots. If they're not happy, then what's the point? But that's not all. After-sales support is another area screaming for meticulous planning and execution. Traditionally, dealerships have been the go-to spots for vehicle servicing, maintenance, and warranty claims. With the shift to a direct-to-consumer model, Ford and Toyota must whip up comprehensive plans to address these important customer needs. This could involve mobile service options, strategic partnerships with third-party providers, and smart placement of brand-owned service centers. Oh, and navigating the legal maze is no small feat either. Many states have laws in place that protect the traditional dealership model, so transitioning to a direct-to-consumer strategy is bound to be a complex and potentially controversial undertaking. So it shouldn't be a surprise that as these automotive giants dive into this transformative adventure, they'll face a spider web of legal, operational, and societal challenges. It won't be a smooth road. Plenty of obstacles are looming on the horizon. Now, I don't know about you, but after looking at all these hurdles and obstacles that they have to somehow overcome, I became a little more curious about their intentions behind all of this. I mean, just think about it. There must be some deep-rooted reasons that these automakers are going through all of this, right? So let's dissect it together. What's their motivator? I can already hear the gears turning in your head. You're used to personalization and smooth experiences in just about every industry. So why are Ford and Toyota making this big shift? Well, it seems as easy as putting two and two together. The traditional car buying experience has been a real nightmare with all the endless negotiations, unclear pricing, and that pushy sales pitch that makes you want to run for the hills. So this must be their motivation, right? Well, that is only half of the story. You see, this shift is a calculated response to a complex mix of market demands and the thirst for profit. They're not just making bold moves for laughs, they have their eyes set on success and maximum returns. And to do this, they are tightening their grip on the sales process. Let's face it, under the old dealership system, companies like Ford and Toyota struggled to control how their vehicles were showcased and sold to customers. This limited influence often led to a mixed bag of brand representation and experiences that varied wildly from one dealership to another. Not exactly ideal for building a loyal customer base, but the quest for control doesn't stop at just the sale. There is a second huge reason why they are doing this: prices and logistics. Recently, Jim Farley, Ford's CEO, dropped a significant revelation. Sticking with the traditional dealership model is costing Ford an eye-popping $2,000 more for each vehicle compared to Tesla's slick, dealer-free system. Can you believe that? A whopping 2/3 of that expense is just money down the drain, basically throwing cash at ads and letting cars collect dust on dealership lots. It's like paying rent for vehicles to soak up the sun. And here's the kicker: Ford's recent powerhouses, the Mustang Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning, flew off the digital shelves without requiring a massive advertising push. Turns out that satisfied customers beat flashy commercials every time. But here's where it gets wild. Many dealerships claim that quite a few of these cars aren't exactly flying out the door. They're facing a growing pile of the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightnings, with supply significantly outstripping demand. A lot of electric vehicle enthusiasts are simply skipping the dealership altogether and opting to shop online instead. Ford is eager to recapture that initial sales surge and wants to avoid any shortages when that happens again. So what's Ford doing? They're not letting this challenge stall their electric vehicle momentum. Instead, they're pouring significant resources into ramping up production and tripling the output of these EV models. However, this has led to even more cars piling up at dealership lots. Some dealers are so overwhelmed they're actually turning down new vehicle allocations, which just adds fuel to the already growing fire. And this is such a bad thing for them. You have to consider that the old-school dealership model comes with a ton of costs. Think about real estate expenses, inventory management, and staffing. These mounting costs inevitably show up in what consumers pay out of pocket. By cutting out the middleman, Ford and even Toyota have a real chance to slash their distribution costs significantly. Now, here's where it gets interesting. How could they use these savings? There's a treasure trove of possibilities. They could pass those savings on to consumers, resulting in more competitive pricing and a chance to expand their market share. Or they might choose to funnel those funds into research and development, speeding up innovation in exciting areas like electric vehicles and autonomous driving tech. And let's not forget, these savings could simply bolster profits and enhance shareholder value. This shift towards a more direct model could also pave the way for better inventory management. Instead of having vehicles idling on dealership lots, often mismatched with local demand, a direct-to-consumer approach enables a more dynamic, build-to-order strategy. This not only cuts down on costs tied to overproduction and storage, but also opens up the door for greater customization options for consumers. But there's one last reason for all this change, and it's a bit of a hot topic. So brace yourself. What's bubbling under the surface of this transformation is something that most of you might not like. So let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on. Big data! Look, no one enjoys feeling like a data point or being reduced to a mere statistic. Yet, let's face it, gathering valuable insights directly from consumers is absolutely vital for any business today. In our digital world, data has genuinely become the new oil, highlighting how crucial and powerful it is for steering business strategies and decisions. For the big players in the automotive game, like Ford and Toyota, building direct relationships with customers throughout the buying process and beyond allows them to collect a treasure trove of first-party data. This kind of information unlocks deep insights into consumer preferences, behaviors, and even pain points, giving them a significant edge over the competition. So, what exactly is first-party data? It's all about the information that companies gather straight from their customers: browsing behavior, purchase history, and demographic details. This is a far cry from third-party data, which often lacks reliability and specificity. But regardless, a recent survey revealed that a whopping 83% of consumers are concerned about sharing their personal data online. This drives home the point that businesses need to focus on building transparency and trust if they want to collect first-party data effectively. It is either that or missing out on a huge opportunity. You see, by digging into how customers are configuring their vehicles online, Ford and Toyota can make smart choices for future product development. For instance, if they see a trend in popular vehicle configurations or sought-after features, they can tailor their designs accordingly, ensuring that new models truly resonate with what consumers want. Plus, analyzing browsing behaviors and purchase paths helps fine-tune the digital sales process, ultimately boosting conversion rates. Did you know that personalized marketing powered by first-party data can result in a massive 20% boost in sales conversions? Tell me what kind of salesperson can achieve that? That's the kind of game-changing outcome companies can enjoy when they harness this information wisely. And let's not overlook the importance of post-purchase data either. This is key for understanding how people use their vehicles and gauging overall customer satisfaction. By collecting feedback through surveys and tracking vehicle performance, manufacturers can pinpoint which features hit the mark and which ones might need a little adjustment. This ongoing feedback loop helps businesses refine their offers and shape their marketing campaigns to better target specific consumer segments. Given the current challenges facing the automotive industry, like inflation and shifting consumer preferences, the power to leverage first-party data is more crucial than ever. With the phasing out of third-party cookies on the horizon, brands must urgently optimize their strategies for collecting first-party data. This isn't just about gathering information, it's about activating that data to create tailored experiences that truly resonate with consumers every step of the way. First-party data is a powerful tool. Its real magic lies in providing actionable insights that can drive product innovation, enhance customer experiences, and ultimately drive sales higher. Now, after all of this, if it seems like the rewards far outweigh the risk, you are not alone. Toyota thought so too. Years ago, so what did they do? Smart Path. You see, after the EV boom, the automotive industry was totally shaken up by Tesla's groundbreaking direct-to-consumer sales model. It had completely transformed how we buy cars. Imagine walking through a car buying experience that's all about smoothness and transparency. No hidden fees, no sketchy negotiations. By cutting out the middleman, aka aka those relentless dealerships, Tesla can offer customers consistent pricing, eliminate frustrating delays, and create an overall buying journey that leaves you feeling great about your choice. Sure, Tesla hasn't had a smooth ride. There have been plenty of legal battles against car dealership associations in various states trying to hold on to the old ways, but their pioneering spirit has earned them rave reviews and even inspired other automakers to jump on the bandwagon. A major milestone for Tesla, in 2021 they celebrated a colossal achievement when the Model 3 became the first electric car ever to reach over 1 million global sales. Talk about cementing its place as a heavyweight champion in the automotive market. Enter Toyota and its Smart Path, an effort to carve out its own success by mimicking what Tesla has done so well. Launched in 2020, Smart Path was Toyota's ambitious attempt to meet increasing consumer demand for a seamless digital car buying experience, especially as the world adapted to new norms during the COVID-19 pandemic. With SmartPath, customers could kick off their car buying adventure entirely online, save their progress in a comfy digital garage, and then decide whether they wanted to stroll into the dealership to finish things up or seal the deal completely online. This holistic approach was supposed to simplify everything, bringing Toyota's website, dealership sites, and physical locations all into one harmonious user experience. But here's where things get a little messy. While SmartPath offered some useful conveniences, it ultimately missed the mark on addressing the fundamental issues that have driven buyers up the wall for years. One big hurdle? Persistent dealer markups that turned comparison shopping into a real headache. Despite the high-tech online platform, the same old problems that plagued the industry stuck around like a bad cold. So this ambitious program never took off like they wanted it to, like Tesla was. Why? Well, simply launching an online platform wasn't some magical fix for the deeply rooted frustrations buyers had endured over time. The program served as an eye-opener, revealing not just a misstep on Toyota's part, but also highlighting the tough reality they faced in trying to implement a genuinely revolutionary sales model amid industries set in their long-established ways. So, while Tesla has led the charge into a new, exciting era of car buying, their journey serves as a reminder for others. Transforming traditional sales processes isn't just about slapping tech onto old systems, it's about addressing the core issues that consumers face, and that's a tall order. But before you start pointing fingers at Toyota for their mistakes, you need to also criticize one big player responsible for all of this: dealerships. A major reason the SmartPath program flopped was that the dealerships themselves weren't exactly rooting for its success. Just like any other business, those dealerships prioritize their profits over customer satisfaction. Think about it for a sec. They're rolling in cash from financing insurance and extended warranties. Sure, they make some bucks from the vehicle prices, but it's those extra services that really pad their wallets. And now, with more folks opting to buy cars online, bypassing the dealership altogether, these guys are starting to feel some serious pressure. So when Toyota set out to disrupt the traditional car buying process by cutting dealers out of the sales equation, it kind of aimed at slashing away the middleman profits. And surprise, surprise, they weren't thrilled about the prospect of losing out on all those sweet add-ons and service packages. Let's be honest, the SmartPath program really didn't set the world on fire, but it brought to light how stubborn the dealership model is when it comes to adapting to new technology and modernizing the overall car buying experience. Toyota found itself in a tricky position, trying to balance what customers wanted while still playing nice within the legal constraints of the industry. Ultimately, that's why the SmartPath didn't become what it was supposed to be, and Toyota is now brainstorming a new game plan. This time, they're aiming for a model that gives them a whole lot more control over everything, from financing and insurance to marketing and advertising. As a major player in the automotive game, they definitely have the resources and expertise to handle the entire process. Plus, let's not forget that Ford is on the same path. So what's the plan? Well, let's break it down. Toyota is keeping all their plans hush-hush. I guess their past failure has really got their feelings hurt. But Ford, on the other hand, isn't just shifting gears, they're completely overhauling the whole process. Ford's CEO Jim Farley is fully on board with this digital revolution. He's been shouting from the rooftops about making 100% online transactions and direct deliveries a reality. Think of it like Amazon Prime, but instead of your next gadget, it's your new ride pulling into your driveway. And it doesn't stop there. He's giving a nod to Tesla and those trailblazing Chinese automakers who've really set the pace for this transformation. Yet Ford isn't just playing catch-up with Tesla. No way. They're aiming for that top spot on the podium. We're talking lower costs, a smoother and more enjoyable buying process, and a sprinkle of that Tesla flair. Ford's whipping up something truly extraordinary. And here's the best part. They're looping their dealers into this exciting journey, making it feel like you're watching your beloved vintage car getting a sleek, futuristic upgrade. Say goodbye to haggling over prices because fixed pricing is in. Dealerships, those are getting a serious makeover, turning into cutting-edge service hubs. Can you picture stepping into a Ford Center, not to bargain over the sticker price, but to have your car serviced while you enjoy a latte? Absolutely delightful, right? But here's the catch. With great innovation comes an equally great responsibility, right? Dealerships are caught in an adapt or face obsolescence dilemma. It's just like when smartphones burst onto the scene. Either you hop on the bandwagon or you risk being stuck trying to sell flip phones. So what's the dealership's plans? These are industry giants that can do a lot of damage, so don't count them out just yet. These guys are rolling up their sleeves and they are savvy enough to deploy a whole arsenal of tactics to not only combat this threat, but also to solidify their grip on the industry. Right now, these companies are using 3 key strategies to stay relevant and powerful in this shifting landscape. First up, we have the rather vital strategy of leveraging franchise laws. These state-specific regulations exist in 50 states and act like a protective shield for dealerships, ensuring that automakers have to sell their vehicles through these franchised intermediaries rather than cutting them out of the equation completely. This legislation prohibits manufacturers from directly competing with the dealers. They can't just swoop in and sell cars on their own. That would be against the rules. And dealerships don't just passively benefit from these regulations, they are actively fighting to keep them in place. They lobby state legislatures relentlessly, pushing for legislation that not only safeguards their business model, but also discourages direct sales from manufacturers. An interesting point in history comes from 2010, when dealerships successfully convinced Congress to add a measure to the Consolidated Appropriations Act, giving terminated dealerships the chance to reclaim their franchises through an arbitration process. That's pretty clever, right? And moving beyond regulations, we can't ignore the trend of consolidation and the economies of scale that come along with it. Bigger is indeed better in this scenario, as larger dealer groups have been methodically acquiring smaller, independent dealerships at a brisk pace. This consolidation allows them to benefit from economies of scale, which in turn increases their bargaining power when negotiating with automakers. As of 2021, some serious stats illustrate this shift in the industry. The top 150 dealer groups owned a solid 12.1% of all dealerships in the US and were responsible for a whopping 26.5% of total new vehicle sales. The powerhouse in this game, AutoNation, stands out as a major player, operating over 300 franchises nationwide. Talk about dominating the market. But what's the third tactic, you ask? Well, it is the digital revolution. Dealerships have realized they can't stick their heads in the sand when it comes to online sales. To counter the convenience and efficiency of direct online sales, they are massively investing in their own digital retailing platforms. This means that you can now configure your vehicle online, get pre-approved for financing, and even have your new ride delivered right to your doorstep. It's all about creating a seamless end-to-end buying experience that consumers are increasingly clamoring for. Plus, unlike the direct-to-sales approach, they can offer you test drives at their lots. However, it's not all smooth sailing. Dealerships have found it tough to fully mirror the straightforward, transparent, and often stress-free experience provided by direct sales models like Tesla's. Consumers still face hurdles such as confusing dealer markups, complicated pricing structures, and that old-school requirement of visiting a physical dealership to finalize paperwork and pick up their new vehicle. These lingering pain points keep some consumers pining for a simpler experience. Who would want to do it over online if the problems are still there? It is just like the Toyota SmartPath program over again. It will never catch on like this. But what do you think? Let's know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.